Okay, so I was thinking about this the other day. Well, I wasn't thinking about it. I actually made it. It's basically like this sort of very small plan, right, that I have to kind of serve my way to Africa. And the big idea here is next year I want to just go and live in Africa for the whole year. And so I'm just trying to save up as much money as I possibly can to do that. Now, this year I'm living in Nashville, and the cost of living is pretty low. But at some places, the basically I'm working as a waitress right now, right? And so most of the tables who come in are pretty kind. Like an average, okay, decent tip is $10 or whatever. And I typically end up serving 10 tables. So on average, I make about $100 a shift. And so that's for 4 hours. So, I mean, that's not really bad, but it's also just a real job that exists in the real society. And it's it just has nothing to do with sexual exploitation, right? Serving tables is pretty much a very standard job for women. But another thing I feel like it teaches you, and it really reinforces it to you, is how to pay for things, how much stuff costs, how to budget, and things of that nature. And that's really important to understand because if you don't understand that, then you might not, I think some of the value in your own life might get lost. I tried to break this down with table by table, day by day, almost plate by plate, right? How, I got up for 4 hours when I could have been sleeping. And then I walked plates to a table and I wrote down orders. It's not a very strenuous job. It's pretty easy relatively. And it's kind of like exercising, right? Because then by walking as much as I do, it definitely does help me kind of stay in shape. But a really important piece of this is that my time is worth money. Every minute. And I want to really make this clear for as a woman, especially as a Black woman. I feel there's a lot of people who are still living at home, or maybe living with family members, or just doing whatever. And I think you just always have to realize that your time is worth money. Every day, when I'm in the restaurant, there are families there, right? And there's a dad who's paying for the meals, right? It's not my dad, and it might not be your dad, but there's a dad, and he's using his hard-earned money that he got from his job doing something else to pay for the meal for his kids. And every meal has a price, right? And all the food comes on the plate, and then the kids eat the food, and then they grow. And then one day this turns into them doing something in society, right? Which is also bringing in money. That's how it goes. Now, some people, if you've been here kind of for a minute and you know a little bit more about my backstory, then you might be this is ridiculous. Why is she could be doing so much. My mother says this shit to me all the time. Oh, you could be doing so much with your life. You're just wasting it away. You have so much education. You have so much experience. You could be doing all of this. And I just want to say that, that isn't true. Sometimes there's, systemic racism that really does get in the way of you thriving. It isn't all the time, but, for me personally, that is the case. I think I'm, blacklisted from, the entire tech industry, all of it. Which is very difficult to say, but whatever. At the same time, I have to at least earn enough cash to make my way to Africa. So to anyone who's sitting here thinking I pose some threat to the American society, I don't. I hate it here, and all I'm trying to do is just work my way up to leave, one step at a time, one day at a time. that's it. Like, there's not like some additional story. Like, this is the story. It's like dollar by dollar, I'm like taking my ass back to Africa. And it does feel like for some reason, like, this is like not a noble cause. Another weird part about this to me is like, I guess I can talk more about like dinner dates and my feelings on dinner dates, because like, what do they think that like wealthy men do with their money? And also, like, why does everyone have this assumption that there's just like a plethora of like really attractive women, right? Like, to me, when I look out into American society and I unpack my own story, it's actually pathetic. It was like such a waste of talent, of beauty, of youth, of just anything. It's like, but I clearly, like, it's like I'm not enough. Like, I offer nothing to this society. So all I can do is just, use my sneakers and my hands to like walk plates to a fucking table and take my money and go back to Africa. Like, that is the option for me. There are just so many thoughts that I have about like so many things. I'm just so upset about like all of it, like, it just really makes me furious. Like, I feel like, I feel sad. I feel like, but, at the same time, whatever. Let's just talk about the bills and the expenses. So obviously there's rent, that's $1,600. The cell phone bill, that's $350. It's because I have 3 cell phones. The internet costs $80. My bus pass costs $65. The YMCA costs $65. Electricity is $100. I spend about $600 a month on food. I spend about $20 a day. I actually am not getting my nails done. My nails are pretty fucked up right now, and I just don't want to spend the money on them, so I probably won't. Utilities cost $100. Like, I'm not invested anymore in anything that has to do with like beauty products. Just like at all. Like, I don't want to be beautiful anymore. Like, I'm good.